Your story of darkness and danger. My name is Markham Davis, son of Milton. I'm sitting here in Odessa, Ukraine, and just reflecting on what got me here, where I am in this mesmerizing quest of dark shadows and adventure. You see, 3 years ago, I was living here in Ukraine, enjoying a thriving matchmaking business. And on the morning of February 26, 2022, I was awakened to the sounds of loud explosions in the distance, air raid sirens, and a quick awareness that nothing would be the same as the Russians invaded Ukraine not far from my location. Now, I would stay in the country for the next 8 months, helping arrange supplies of food and medicine to 22 orphanages around the country, where the unimaginable continued to rain down on the innocent citizens, this country that I've really come to love. I returned to the U.S. and found myself at a place I'd never expected, without a business, a place to call home. I chose an apartment in Frisco, Texas to be near my adult children and just pondered my next steps. I drew my strength from quiet times, from a deepening connection with Source, and began writing my book. But a dark shadow loomed over everything, and for the first time in my life, I really had no idea what was around the corner. And the loneliness was stark in contrast to the 20 employees that I got to see every day at my office in Ukraine for the past 8 years. My savings diminished. I took a foolish risk on a Hail Mary investment that ended up wiping out most of what I had left. And now the darkness of financial pressures added to the struggle to find hope. Now in October, I received a call from a former client who was also in a place of hopelessness and needed a friend to talk to. We spoke for nearly 2 hours and spontaneously decided that we needed to act boldly and embark on an adventure to break out of this stagnation and dare to believe that there is hope back in Ukraine, where we both found it before. He lost his spouse and wanted to find love again, which was an area of my expertise. And for me, I wanted to start a new business here to help with the rebuilding Ukraine, where he brought skills and experience on import-export that could help in that quest. Within 10 days, we'd put our affairs in order so that we could depart on a one-way trip, setting back to our roots in Ukraine with no return in mind. In our first day in the country, I helped him meet a woman he's still dating. And we had also begun business meetings with people at some very high levels of the Ukrainian government to talk about products that we might be able to bring in to help with the new phase of life here when the war comes to an end. And I want to tell you right now, I have no resolution to share with you. My story is still in the heart of the action, and I still don't know how it will end. But this week, as God's source made sure I saw these quotes from J.R.R. Tolkien's Lord of the Rings, I want to share them with you now to give some perspective and enter us into some reflection time that we're going to go through together. These are both from Samwise Gamgee's perspective as he talked with Frodo, and he said this: I know it's all wrong. By rights, we shouldn't even be here, but we are. It's like in the great stories, Mr. Frodo, the ones that really mattered. Full of darkness and danger they were. And sometimes you didn't want to know the end, because how could there be a happy ending? How could the world go back to the way it was when so much bad had happened? But in the end, it's only a passing thing, this shadow. Even darkness must pass. A new day will come. And when the sun shines, it will shine out clearer. Those were the stories that stayed with you, that meant something, even if you were too small to understand why. But I think, Mr. Frodo, I do understand. I know now. Folk in those stories had lots of chances to turn back, but they didn't. They kept going because they were holding on to something. Still, I wonder if we shall ever be put into songs or tales. We're in one now, of course, but I mean, put into words, told by the firesides and read out loud from a great book with red and black letters years and years after. And people will say, let's hear the one about Frodo and the Ring. And they'll say, yes, that's one of my favorite stories. In one of the quotes from my book, I say, adventure is not an option. It's a way of life. It's a way of showing gratitude to our Creator for everything He's made available to us. Life is meant to be experienced fully. It keeps us in a state of play and childlike wonder. The alternative is boredom and sameness. And so I just say to you guys today, wherever you are, your chapter, your story, you may be living, you may be the hero, you are the hero and the central character. But whether this chapter is bright with victory or clouded in shadows, either way it will pass and another season will come. And the lesson may not be clear in these moments, but will not quit moving forward. For me, I just want to be able to look back a year from now, be proud of this man today who decided to act boldly in the face of fear and lack and darkness to explore what was given to me in this day to explore, and say I did it well. Now, with that, I want to share with you some questions as we go to our breakout groups that will reflect on your exploration of these concepts in your life. And questions these, and I know Sid can put them in the chats, so they'll be in the sidebars. You go into breakout groups. But just to ask, what story of darkness can you look back on in your life and now be able to say, yes, oh yes, that is one of my favorite stories? And what stories of adventure do you want to be able to tell a year from now? And with that, I'm Markham Davis, and I'm in.